I'm really saying what's up to nobody because nobody's in here yet. But I haven't done a live like all week, so I'm just coming on here doing a live. You feel me? I'm just gonna be on for a little bit because it's already 9:30 and it's a Friday night. Friday nights usually when I get my most sleep. Go to bed early. I get to wake up kind of late. So my plan, my plan is to get on here for maybe 30 minutes or so before I go to bed. I'm pretty tired actually. Pretty tired. But we'll see what happens. It's a Friday night. I don't know how many people gonna get on here. But if you get on, say what's up. We'll talk a little bit. No. Oh man. So, just in case somebody does watch this later, I need some ideas for new content. So if you have some ideas for content, let me know. I just did a podcast interview thing last night uh, with Charlie. If you haven't watched that, go watch it, or else you'll be a loser. But of course, like if I could get more people, I'll do more interviews, podcasts. But until I get those people, I gotta make content. So if there's something that you want to see, something you want to know, let me know so I can make a video about it. And that's about anything, like self improvement, language stuff, fitness stuff. To me, all of that falls under self improvement, anyways. But you know, if you follow me, you already know what my channel is about. You know the kind of content I make. So, like I said, just give me an idea. Just trying to keep it going. Last year I did the whole 100 video thing, and I don't want to do that again. But I do want to stay consistent with my content. So, uh, yeah, anytime I have the opportunity to make a video, I do. But it's hard, man. It's hard. Like when I see content creators that upload like 5 videos a day and stuff, I'm just like, bro, how you even like? Where are you getting the inspiration from? Where are you getting the ideas, the time, the energy? It be like that, G. Oh yeah, definitely. You feel me? Let me see. How do I say your name? Baking soda, not bad. Baking soda, not bad. What's up, bro? I'm guessing you're a bro. I feel like a girl wouldn't have a name like baking soda, not bad. So, what's popping with you? I ain't never seen you on a live or in my comments before, so this must be your first time, right? Well, until baking soda not bad response to that, I'll keep talking about what I was talking about. So, like I said, yeah, man, I don't know where people get the energy from. I have no plans on being like a influencer or nothing like that, but I do want to deliver content when I can, like I said. So, I ain't gonna be doing 5 posts a day ever, probably. But if I can make a couple a week, give out some good information, that's good enough for me. So that's what we're looking to do. The last channel I had, my last channel, it was like all fitness and music, right? And I had like 4,000 subscribers or something like that on there, but it just got to a point where I was posting stuff like once every 2 months, and then it was once every 6 months, and then it was just like dang, I haven't uploaded nothing in 2 years. And so I just stopped using the channel and I made this one, right? So trying not to fall back into that same habit. Yeah. Facts, bro. Facts. So it's your first time, bro. Let me ask you, what brought you in here this time? Every time I see somebody new, I always ask them. Last time somebody told me they saw it like on a recommended or something like that. I just want to know, you know, what made you click today? What made you see it and say, you know what, I'm gonna join that? Because the more information I get from y'all, the more I can possibly rope some more people in here. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough to be motivated to make this content, especially because sometimes there's a little delayed reaction. Like you put something out and it's like almost nobody watches it or very few people, and people might not comment on it, they might not say nothing, and you're like, maybe they didn't like that video. And then like a week or two later you get like 8 comments, the views go up. uh he covered me, that's why. Evening, did you study Spanish with your partner? I mean, did you get lessons or was it all on your own? I have a really good friend in Colombia that I talk to on the phone 3 times a week. So that's how I learn. And then I would obviously talk to people in real life. So if you're asking me, did I learn it without talking to people? No, I did not learn it without talking to people. You will never be good at speaking and having conversations without having conversations. He covered me. That's why. Is that a religious reference? Is that a is God covering you? But yeah, I don't know what your Spanish goal is, but if your Spanish goal is to have conversations, make connections, like that's what you got to get out there and do. I would suggest, I don't know what level you're at or like what your process is right now, but I would suggest that you get on italki. I never used italki actually just because I had that friend, but it's the same thing. Like it's having conversations via Skype or whatever. So pretty much the same thing. But that's the best way to do it. Or real life, because you'll learn through context. And that's the most important thing. I'm assuming that your native language is English. And so even in English, if you hear me say a word right now that you don't know, it's not gonna throw you off. You're gonna guess it from the context of what we're talking about right now, right? And even if you don't get it doesn't matter. You understand the message of what I'm saying. And after you hear a word 5, 10, 15, 20 times, you'll say, oh, I get what that word means now. And it's the same thing in another language. Like you'll hear a word and someone can even explain to you what the word means. It doesn't really mean anything with an explanation either, though. You have to understand the context of it. Half the stuff that we say, we don't actually know why we're saying it. You just heard someone saying it 50 times and you're like, when I feel like this, I say this. You know what I mean? So you don't really think about that stuff. And actually learning another language will help you think about a lot of stuff in your own language. You'll be like, why do I say that? I don't know why I say that. So yeah, I see you're a beginner. What kind of beginner? What do you know? That's a bad question. I should say, what are you capable of? If someone walked up to you in the street right now and asked you your name and where you were from and how long you were learning Spanish, would you be able to respond to them, or would you get like freaked out and be like, no hablo español? Well, until they respond, I'll keep talking. Kind of about the same topic. whenever a topic pops up, I'll just rant about it until I get an answer. But yeah, this is not even just for languages, this is for anything, but it definitely applies to languages. If you like, specification is the most important thing in almost everything. Like, specificity is king. So if I want to be a good public speaker in any language, in my native language, like I took public speaking classes. I was in the military. I had to give a lot of briefings. And so you learn a lot of things about projecting your voice, enunciating words, and making eye contact and not like doing this and playing with your hands. It's a lot of stuff that you might not even think about until you actually learn it. But you only learn that kind of stuff through action and feedback, right? And so it's the same thing with language learning. If you want to get good at talking and you're on an application where you're listening and you're not talking to somebody that's responding to you, you're on the wrong path. If you're reading, I'm not going to say you're on the wrong path, but if you're reading, you're getting better at reading. There's things that you can do while you're reading to help you speak, but you're still getting better at reading. You can read out loud. You can read with emotion. You can pretend like you're reading that story to someone else. It's good. It'll help your Spanish for sure. But it's not the same thing as having a conversation. Listening to a podcast, to TV, to movies, not the same thing as having a conversation. Writing is not the same thing as having a conversation. So you can do all of that stuff. I'm sure you know people like this. I'm sure you know people in your native language that they're smart, but they don't talk to people enough. Or maybe they're not smart, but they might have better conversations through text or something, but when they need to explain themselves in real life, they might get flustered or they're just not smooth with it because they don't talk enough. It's a skill, like I said. You got to practice it. Politicians, even though they're liars, they're really good at speaking. They're really good at dodging questions because they practice. They're like, if someone asks me this, I'm going to say this. And they get better at it because people ask the same questions over and over and over again. Okay, you can ask questions like, ¿cómo se dice? ¿Cómo te va? Mi nombre es. Okay, Carol, I'm guessing you're a woman. Simple stuff. Okay, that's good. That's good. If you can ask that stuff, that's a building block to more things, right? If you can ask how to say something, then you get another word in your vocabulary. If you ask someone, how's it going? Then they give you an answer. That's something you can add to your repertoire, your arsenal of replies to greetings. So, like I said, that's good. Just make sure you talk to people, something I used to do that I had to like stop doing a long time ago is like I would watch a bunch of videos about how to learn Spanish. I would watch a bunch of videos about being more fluent, talking better. But like I'm literally just watching videos about how to do it and I'm wasting my time instead of actually just doing it. Like after you watch like 2 videos and the people are like, this is how I got fluent. I started having conversations. You don't need to watch a third and a fourth video about that. You just need to start having conversations. So, getting your listening practice in is good. It is. You should keep doing that. I still listen to all kinds of stuff in Spanish, but I use my Spanish every single day. So that is the most important thing. Find a way to use your Spanish. And if you can't, let's say you were super poor and you can't afford italki. Oh, you have a large Guatemalan clientele base at work in Alabama. That's Oh no, you're from Alabama. Where do you actually live at right now? That's interesting that you say that. I wonder where this large Guatemalan clientele is at. That is interesting. I'm trying to think in my head where you might live at right now. I want to say the East Coast. Let me say. I'm gonna guess you're either in like the Dallas area or you're somewhere in like. Nah, I don't know no Guatemalans in Florida. The only Guatemalans I know live in Dallas, actually. I only know a couple, so. But yeah, actually, those people at work, at your job, that's the best people to learn from. Like, once you once you can kind of build up the courage to do it, and that's something that I do recommend. I tell people they should talk as early as they can, but the one caveat is that you have to be comfortable enough to talk and not freak out. So, if your Spanish could be bad, but if you're comfortable enough to get through the sentence, it's gonna benefit you. But like, oh, okay, you do live in Alabama still. Did not know there was a lot of Guatemalans there. That's interesting. But yeah, if you're so nervous about what you're about to do that you talk like one word at a time, like you're like vivo in, and like the people are just gonna be sitting there like, what is going on right now? I don't think it's worth it to do it at that point. I think you're gonna just like reinforce your anxiety about sounding crazy. So I think you should get to a point where you're like, I can handle these very, very basic things. And the next level of stuff makes me a little uncomfortable. That's good. You're always gonna be uncomfortable, like taking a step up. But the stuff that you like know well, you should be able to like say it somewhat comfortably in a conversation, so that you don't freak yourself out. But yeah, like I said, you just have to take what you know and kind of run with it. I know you said so. Like clearly, you know how to conjugate. You know how to conjugate in the present tense for sure, because you know how to say "I live." You know how to ask people how is it going. Do you know the past tense? Do you know the future tense? Because if you don't, I'm gonna tell you that's what you need to start learning. But I'm gonna wait for you to tell me if you do. And I also noticed there's like a delay, so I won't be surprised if you respond way after I said that. So until I see your response, I'll keep talking. When we have conversations, hey, what's up, bro? I haven't seen you in a long time. That's crazy. Bro, I was thinking about you the other day. Pause. But yeah, man, I've been good, man. I got hurt in December and I'm coming back now. But I'm back ready to compete and all is well, man. I hope all is well with you, bro. Seriously. So what was I saying, Carol? Yeah, when we have conversations on a daily basis, like we'll do a little bit of like fake role play right now. I just met you. Of course, I ask you where you live and stuff like that, right? But if we're like somewhat acquaintances or friends, when I see you, I'm gonna say, "Hey, what's up? What'd you do today? What'd you eat today? What are you going to do? What are you going to eat? What are you gonna do this weekend?" Everything's like over here and over here. It's all future and past tense. Like you mainly only talk in the present when you're describing things that you do on a daily basis, right? So like I get up and I go to work at 4:30 in the morning. But that's like me telling you my daily routine. If I'm talking to you in real life and you're not asking me about my daily life, I'll tell you I got up at 4:30, right? Or man, tomorrow I have to get up at 4:30, right? Or I'm going to have to get up at 4:30. $40 to cut grass at the properties. Oh, you couldn't get him to understand that his math was off. That's that's interesting. I wonder, maybe what if there was a reason that he was giving you the 10 back? That's that's interesting. You couldn't write it out on a piece of paper or something? Just like just like actually do the math problem, like write 404040, and then like go down a line and put 12 right there and then like underline it. Like, hey bro, 120. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe he was hooking you up. Like, I don't know. Maybe he's like, hey, 3 properties. Let me give you a little discount. Hey, man, sorry to hear that, bro. For real. Hoping to get back to it. Hey, man. Bro, life is hard, man. Life is hard, bro. And, a lot of people on social media and the internet, like, no excuses. Like, everyone goes through blah, blah, blah. You got to hit the gym. You got to do this. But, bro, sometimes stuff just breaks you, bro. But, like, today is today. You know what I mean? And tomorrow's tomorrow. And, like, uh, all you can do is, like, what you can do, right? So, whenever you get back in there, bro, just that's what you're doing at that moment. I wouldn't even think about the past and how much time you missed or nothing like that, bro. Like, it's nothing you can do about it. So, but I'm happy to hear that you're gonna be getting back in, man. Like I said, it's good to see you, bro. Yeah, take care, man. Stay in touch. Holla at me. I'll be around. But yeah, Carol. What was I gonna tell you? I would think about. You never answered my question. I don't think because you might be behind me right now. But if you can speak in the past tense and the future tense, then I would start thinking about uh, more complex things like that conversation. Like, how do I tell him that his math is off? Do I know the word for math? Do I know the word for plus, minus, stuff like that, right? Um, and so I've talked about this before, but I'll talk about it again. I don't have anything to draw with, so I'm just gonna make an imaginary circle. But you have this vocab right here, right? This is your inner circle of vocab. Like, this is the stuff that matters, the stuff that you personally deal with on a daily basis. I don't have a landscaper. I definitely don't have a landscaper that speaks Spanish. So any vocabulary uh, that relates to landscaping, I don't care that much about. Do I know it? Maybe. But for the purposes of this exercise, it's not important to me. For you, this is important. The person that you're going to be speaking Spanish with is a landscaper. Money, um, past preterite. Oh, okay. Oh, you saw me on Mike's channel. Okay, that's cool. Okay, well, this concept still applies, even if you can't speak in the past. It's just something. Actually, you can go ahead and throw that past tense and future tense into this inner circle, actually, of things that are super important because they're frequent, because they apply to you in your daily life. Landscaping, money, anything that has to do with highs and buys, daily basic conversation. Where are you from? Like, obviously you know he's from Guatemala. I don't know how. Maybe you talked to him, or maybe someone else told you. What part of Guatemala? When's the last time you've been back? You might not want to ask that depending on their life story, but you get what I'm saying. And so the next thing is kind of like intangible stuff and vocabulary that maybe would lead to a good conversation, an intelligent conversation, but it's not daily life. So, talking about something that happened on the news or something like that, like stepping your vocab up, like connectors and stuff like that. That doesn't really apply to you so much, but it's just a part of being an intelligent human being. And this outer circle is just stuff that doesn't matter. Rocket ships don't matter to me. Can't tell you a conversation I've ever had about rocket ships in English, much less Spanish. So, what I find people do on Duolingo and other like learning programs is they're learning a bunch of vocabulary that doesn't apply to them. Like, yes, it's nice to know how to say giraffe or rhino or all kinds of little animals and the word for like mad random fruits and stuff like that. It's cool. It's good. And you should work on that. But if you know how to say like the most random fruit from a country that you've never been to and you can't tell your landscaper that he doesn't need this that you don't need this $10, then to me you're off the mark. Like you're not on the mission. And that just goes back to what I was saying earlier, right? Like specificity is king. And so again, I'm not telling you not to learn random words. I'm just saying your focus should probably be on what is actually going to be useful to you. In my case, I work I'm not telling y'all exactly what I do, but I'm a strength and conditioning coach on a military base. It behooves me to know how to say exercises in Spanish, the name of certain types of equipment, how to say it like a bar or a plate, a sled, stuff like that, right? And basic conversation because I talk to these soldiers that sometimes don't speak English or don't speak English well. And, being a coach is not just like, hey, do these 3 reps. It's also asking a soldier why he's so tired, asking a soldier what they did that weekend. Not necessarily a soldier, but that's just who I coach right now. But just asking people about their lives to build a better connection with them because that helps you coach them better too, right? So, yeah, that stuff is in my inner circle. One of my videos on here, I actually talked about this was like a year and a half into my Spanish journey, and my car broke down, and it was a Sunday, so nothing was open. But my barber, who speaks Spanish, said, "Yo, I got a mechanic that can come fix your car right now, so you can get home." And the guy, he actually just sent me a text. That's the weirdest coincidence ever. But the guy, Miguel, spoke zero English, like not even a little bit of Spanglish. And I had to communicate my way through that. And the words he was using, I don't even know them in English, right? I don't know anything about cars. Like I'm the worst car person in the world. Like besides the engine and like little stuff, like I know like I can obviously like put oil in my car and you know, I can change my tires if I need to. Can fill up my tires with air too. But besides that, any kind of car parts, anything about cars, I just don't know it. So he's doing the checks and he said, "Oh, you just need this and we could go to AutoZone and get this right now." Uh he said, "How much does it usually cost when you get this part?" And I'm like, "Bro, I don't know what that part is. Like I don't know what you're saying. I know all of the words that you're saying. I just don't know what it means." And so, I don't work with cars. If I worked in AutoZone, I probably would learn car parts in Spanish, but I don't. So all of that was a big rant just to say, focus on what you potentially would be talking about. And anything that catches you off guard, just reinforce it. Like after that conversation I had with him, I was like, well, let me go look up some car words so next time I won't be like so confused. But, you know, I would think about what you potentially could talk to your landscaper about. The first thing is you need to learn how to say, like, you know, this is too much money. And then work on that. In the next conversation, I guarantee you something else will catch you off guard, and then you'll work on that. So that's just what it is. It's just a long chain of realizing your faults and studying harder. So, hope some of that helped. And if it didn't help you, I hope it helps somebody. Who else is in here? Oh, thank you. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for watching. And if you have any other questions right now, you can go ahead and ask it because you are the only person that's chatting right now. So you got all my energy. So like I said, I'm a big fan of telling people to obviously have conversations in Spanish, but there are some concepts that are tough to understand, and sometimes having an English speaker explain it makes it more understandable. So I don't know if there's any like concepts that you're struggling with, and maybe you want to try to get a simple explanation. If I can explain it, I will. Sometimes it's just like, it's literally just too hard to explain grammar stuff sometimes. I am not a grammar professor in English or Spanish. So sometimes the answer is, it's just like that. But if I know the answer, I will give you the answer. Let me see, how long have I been doing this live? 32 minutes. I'll probably go to 45 minutes if nobody else comes in. So you got me for, about 10 to 13 more minutes. Like I said, ask anything you want. True Coach. What a rip off, man. Yeah, children's books are good. Children's books are good. Like I said, just don't get caught up in the trap of only reading. Because when you start having conversations and you start seeing that huge improvement, you're just gonna be like, man, I should have started doing this earlier. That's all you're gonna say. So I'm trying to save you from that. Like, it is good to read, don't get me wrong. But there's no feedback with reading. Like, for instance, if you saw a video where I told you to read children's books, then you probably also saw in that I said you need to make sure that you're saying the vowels right, which a lot of learners don't do, like not even close. And so it makes them a little bit difficult to understand. And if you don't have feedback, you'll continue to make those mistakes. And so it's really hard for me to think of like mistakes that people make. But let me think of something. Let me look at your messages and see if I see something that people usually mess up on. Let's see. Okay. Uh, I would say usually like the O in Spanish gets learners a lot because our O, first of all of our vowels have like multiple sounds, so that already messes people up. But our O is usually I have to think of how our O usually is. But in the case of like we'll say soy. Our O usually doesn't sound like that. Our O only kind of sounds like that if you say O by itself, right? But like the word come, COME, that is how our O usually sounds. And so someone will see the word like comer and they'll say like comer, but it's like that's not how you pronounce it. And it's important to pronounce the vowels right. It's important to pronounce the sounds of the language right because one of the most important things for being understood is pronouncing things right. People think like I need a huge vocabulary and I need to be smooth and all this other stuff, but it's actually not that. I'm sure you've heard someone with like a thick Russian or Indian accent before. Like they can have like a sweet vocab. Like sometimes when I do like the customer service thing, if I call and I get someone in India, it's not that they don't have a good grasp of English. It's literally that their pronunciation is so different that I'm struggling to understand the words that they're saying. They're saying the words correctly and they know what the word means. I can't understand what word they're saying because they probably learn from someone that's not a native speaker. That happens a lot in other countries. So they'll have like an English teacher that has a thick accent that's not a native English speaker. So then that secondhand accent is like basically even worse than theirs. There's nothing wrong with having an accent. If you speak two languages, it's like wear your accent as a badge of honor. That's cool. But like I said, for me, anyways, my goal is to have conversations and be understood. So I don't want to be speaking in a way that like the people are saying, "What? What is he saying?" Like D's in Spanish, they mess up a lot of beginners, and that one's complex. But a lot of English speakers, they say their D's like R's. So they'll be like todo los días, and it's like it sounds like they're saying todo instead of todo, right? And it's weird. Or they're like nada instead of nada. So pronunciation is important. That's another reason that you need to get with either someone on italki or just a native speaker that you know, so they can tell you like, that's not how you say it. Did I have a problem rolling my R's? Actually, no, never. What I did have a problem with, and I would say even still, this is gonna get complex. The people that I talk to sometimes, the country that they're from doesn't pronounce R's the way that everyone pronounces R's. So I kind of have to like code switch in a way and make sure I talk the neutral way when I'm talking to other people. When I talk to them, I can talk how they talk. But what's more difficult than rolling your R's is actually saying the single R. So let me think of a word. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but there's the driving car, carro, right? That's two R's. But then the word for expensive, caro, is one R, and that's actually a lot harder to say. It's really easy, like to roll your R's, in my opinion. I know a lot of people struggle with that, but I think they kind of overthink it. But when it's a single R, or actually a single R after a double R, That is the most difficult thing because you're already like rolling and you need to stop rolling and say a soft R. But like two double R's, like too easy. Or like, I don't know if you know this, but a single R at the end of a word or the beginning of a word gets pronounced like a double R. And so, let me think of a word. Like arrancar. That's easy because it's just like it's just like the whole time. But like the word for let's see, what's a good word? The word for save, ahorrar. That's not a good example because like it ends in R. I need something that has an R in the middle after. I can't think of one right now, but if there's a single R and it's not ending the word, that's a tougher one. Trust me. When you get there, you'll be like, "Oh, I see what he's saying." Like it's easy to go 100 and just fully roll it because you can't really roll too hard. Like, but you can not say the single R correctly. And like I said, that can change the word. If you're supposed to be saying, if you're supposed to be saying cara or caro, and you say carro, someone's gonna think you're talking about a car. That's totally different than expensive. So, yeah, no, rolling my R's was not particularly difficult. I don't remember when I learned to do it, but after I did, it was not difficult, and it still isn't. What else? I'm trying to think of some other pronunciation stuff that might trip you up. And like I said, a lot of this stuff, like, you won't know you're doing it wrong until you kind of advance and you'll look back and you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe I was doing that. Which is good. I said that on Mike's podcast. I said, or his live, I said, when I'm making mistakes, I'm happy. If I'm making mistakes, I'm like, this means I'm advancing to recognize my own mistakes. Or if I can look back at my old videos and like feel cringe, then I'm like, that's good. That means I'm better than I was back then. If I looked at my 3-month video right now and I'm like, wow, this is good, I would think that I didn't make that much progress, right? So when I look at my videos from my first year, I'm just like, my God, like how were people even understanding what I was saying? My wife's mom, one time I called her and I was telling her like my wife needed me to call her mom to tell her to pick her up from the airport or something. And I was like really focused on pronouncing the words correctly. And so I guess I was talking real slow. And she told my wife I talk like a robot. They didn't really hurt my feelings. It was funny. But like looking back on it, I'm like, I did used to talk like that. And I look at my old videos and that's exactly how I talk, like a robot. Because I was like so focused on the words. So, yeah. It's fun, man. It's a fun journey. All you can do is just take it for what it is. I think people get just too caught up in trying to be perfect and trying to lie about their progress and just talk to people, man. Like, just talk. I made so many friends from speaking Spanish that it's crazy. Like, half of my friends speak Spanish now, and they don't speak English. And half of them I met when my Spanish wasn't great. Like, especially like some of my good friends, I basically couldn't speak Spanish when I met them. But it was the fact that I was trying. And like looking back on it, I'm like thinking about the situations, and they were like, "God, probably like, why is this guy like? Why don't he just like try to talk in English or something?" Like their English was definitely better than my Spanish at the time, but they just appreciated it. It's fun. They're like, "Yo, Americans trying to learn Spanish. It's hilarious." And now we just have conversations in Spanish, so it's cool. It's cool. So I'm almost at 45 minutes. If there's anybody in here, it says there's 4 or 5 people in here. If there's anybody in here that wants to say something, speak now or forever hold your peace or whatever that expression is. Because I'm going to get off of here in like 2 minutes. If no one has any questions or no one says anything. If you have a question or you want to talk more, I'll stay on here. I don't have nothing to do. I'm just about to get ready for bed, so I'll give y'all like 2 minutes just in case your stream is behind. I know there's a little bit of a delay. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. But yeah, I'll try to get back on here maybe tomorrow. What Spanish do I focus on? So that is tough to answer. I learned Spanish from a Colombian, right? But almost everyone that I speak to now is Puerto Rican. And so a lot of words that I have learned are Puerto Rican words. When I speak to random people that have never met me before, they just ask me like, what part of Puerto Rico am I from? I like try my best to speak, like I said, when I speak to people I don't know, I try my best to speak neutral. But I talk to so many Puerto Ricans and I've learned so much stuff from them that it's kind of impossible. It's like if you grew up in Tennessee or you grew up in Alabama, right? So it's like if you grew up in Alabama and you're trying to disguise your accent. You will be able to disguise it in certain places in the South. If you come to Texas, people might say, this person doesn't really sound like they're from the South. But anyone from the North, you won't even be able to disguise your Southern accent. They'll be like, you're not from here. Like, you're from the South, clearly. Like, even though you're trying to speak in a neutral accent. So, I have a weird, I got a weird situation. I definitely do not sound Colombian, but I know a lot about different Colombian things, and I know like a lot of the vocab that I use is also Colombian because I speak to a Colombian 3 times a week. So a lot of cussing and a lot of like words of emotion, like the word for hangover. I don't even know what other countries use for hangover. I only know the Colombian version of the word for hangover. So if someone heard that, they would say, "Oh, you must be from Colombia," because they're the only people that say that word. And so I would say those are my 2 areas of interest, right? Puerto Rico, Colombia. But it wasn't like I focused. It wasn't like I was like, I gotta get this Colombian accent. That's just the people that I learned from. The same way you got your accent in English. You didn't say, I want this accent. You just got it. And so, yeah, that's the majority of the content that I consume too. So the podcasts I listen to, they're usually Puerto Ricans. I watch boxing too. I'm like a heavy, heavy boxing fan. And boxing is like Puerto Rican, Mexican, black, right? And so a lot of the podcasts I listen to are just Puerto Ricans talking about boxing. A lot of the music I listen to, that genre is heavily influenced by Puerto Ricans. And Colombians are starting to be a part of it too. So it just happens to all merge together. But if that question is relating to what you should focus on, I think in the beginning you shouldn't focus on anything. I think that you should learn as much as you can. And if you happen to pick up an accent from who you talk to, that's fine. I think once you get a good base of neutral Spanish where you're not trying to speak with an accent, I think that's when it's a good idea to venture out and maybe try speaking with an accent. Because on the internet, everyone's like, oh, don't try to speak with an accent, just speak neutral Spanish. But I do think it's better to have an accent than it is to not have one. Because when you sound really, really neutral, you don't sound like you're from anywhere. So then you sound like you're someone that learned Spanish. Because even Spanish speakers with neutral accents are like English speakers with neutral accents. Like, this is the most neutral I can get. And right now, if someone tuned in, they'll say, I don't know exactly where he's from, but I know he's from America, right? But there's certain words that I say, like if I say the word, like, I'm gonna try my best right here, the word here. That is as soft as I can say the word here. Normally, if I'm talking in a conversation, I say here, but if I want to sound neutral, if I'm on my YouTube, I say yeah, right here, right here. But like, if somebody hears that, they're gonna be like, yeah, he's from the South, because in the North they don't say it like that. And so it's like you should have an accent. You should have some kind of accent. So usually it makes sense to have the accent of the people that you talk to the most. This is something that you probably don't know yet, but the way people in Guatemala talk, Colombia too, and a lot of South American countries. So the way earlier you said "Cómo te va," right? That's speaking with tú, and in that specific example will be the same. But think about the word like vives, right? Like you live. A lot of countries in South America they speak with what's called voceo, el voceo, right? And so instead of vives, it's vivis. And so like all of the second person verbs are very, very close to the unconjugated verb. So let me think of something else. Like instead of dices, they say decís. So it's real different. It's real different. And so like again, if you were only going to be talking to Guatemalans, or you're talking to a lot of Guatemalans and they're going to be talking like that, it's a good idea to be able to talk to them like that, because you're going to get more of a reaction from them. They're going to be more comfortable with you because you're literally speaking like them. That mechanic, the story that I told earlier, that's how he talks. And if you're not, if you never heard it before, you'd be completely thrown off. If you're not used to it, it takes a little while to catch on, because like I said, the conjugations are like totally different. Um, like in, I don't want to say regular, but if someone's using it through, like if they say tell me, they say dime. But in these countries, they're gonna say decime. Like it's just different. It's real different, but it's cool though. It's cool. And like I said, if you can learn to talk like that from them, when you meet someone else, they're gonna be like, "Yo, you know how to use that voceo? Like how? Like you know what I mean?" So automatically, that's a crazy conversation starter right there. They're gonna know everything. Like, how did you learn? Like, who taught you? And blah blah blah. So I would say it's good to learn the language of the people you're gonna be speaking with. If you live in Alabama and you're surrounded by Guatemalans, I would not focus on Spaniard Spain, because why? That just goes back to the concept I was saying earlier with the circle and getting specific, right? You want to be the most prepared for your interaction that you can be. And don't get me wrong, you're gonna run into people from all kinds of countries in your lifetime when you're speaking Spanish. And it's good to know all of that stuff. But if you meet 100 people and 99 of them are from Guatemala, why wouldn't you want to understand them over the one person from Spain that you're maybe going to have some trouble communicating with? But it's like a one-off versus people that you spend every day with or every week with or something like that, right? So hope that helped. As you can see, it's really easy to get me ranting. All you gotta do is say one thing. I'll talk for like 8 minutes. No breaks. But yeah, what else you got? I'm a little bit past the 45 minutes, but like I said, as long as I'm responding to something, I don't really care. But if it goes dead, then I'm just gonna be like, okay, it's over. I'm almost at an hour now, so might as well just keep it going. But if you don't have anything else, then we'll end it. I'll give you a little bit of time. It's gotta be late there in Alabama. Let me see. Alabama should be Eastern Standard, right? It's gotta be like, is it 1:30 there? Or is Alabama? No, Alabama can't be Central. You have to be Eastern Standard. Why are you awake? Good looking honky. Bro, you're not Peter North. What is your problem, man? That was hilarious. I was not expecting to read that at all. Any of that, your name, the message, any of that. That was hilarious. That's hilarious. I'm not responding to that. I'm not responding to that, but that is hilarious. Oh my god. I've never seen you in this chat before. Where did you come from? What brought you here? I'd like to know. How did I get Peter North? How did I get Peter North in my YouTube live? Hopefully, no one else knows who Peter North is. Nah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Where are you from? What time is it where you're at that you're this bored surfing YouTube like that? South Carolina. What part of South Carolina? I used to live in South Carolina in Columbia for a long time. Oh, it's 12:30 in Alabama. Is Alabama Central Time? Wow. I just thought it would have been Eastern. I guess. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Foot hurts. That's sad. Well, I hope that gets better. I don't know why it hurts, but hope it gets better. Colombia's getting worse with crime. That's not too surprising. I mean, there's a bit of crime there when I was there. I went to oh, you're from Charleston. You wouldn't know the schools anyway, probably. The only time I ever went to Charleston was like for sporting events. So, but yeah, I'm not surprised about Columbia at all. Actually, not surprised. Thanks, appreciate it. Don't know that you're. I don't know what you subscribe to people for on YouTube, so I can't promise anything that you'll like the content or anything. But if you pop up in these lives, yeah, we can chat for sure. But yeah, man, I liked South Carolina when I was there. That was 2003 to 2006. When I was a kid. I had a good time there. It was nice. I liked it. Haven't been back since. Don't really have any plans to go. Yep. Yeah, man, it was nice. So I got my start as an athlete. There's this big road, 2-Notch Road. I always remember the name of that, 2-Notch Road. I used to run up and down 2-Notch Road. That's how I started off. That's how I became a runner. And then I moved to Texas and never went back. But yeah, I was there because my dad was, he still is actually. My dad's still in the military, but I was there because my dad is in the military. So, good place, man. Where we lived at, there wasn't much crime. We're in a nice community. No. I'm in Washington State actually, but my mom's side of the family is from Texas. We moved back to Texas. I lived in Texas for a really long time, and then I was in the military. The military brought me to Washington, and I got finished and stayed in Washington. So, but I kind of want to go back to Texas. I'm not gonna lie. I just gotta convince my wife. Can I do that? I don't know. But every time we visit Texas, she's like, "Wow, so much sun." Kilgore, yeah, I know Kilgore. Used to be stationed at Oak Harbor. I don't know exactly how far Oak Harbor is, but I imagine that's the naval base, right? Yeah. I was Navy. I just saw that. Okay. Whidbey Island. Okay, yeah. I know where that's at. Yup. What about Kilgore, Texas, though? Hey, you take care too, man. Yeah, Kilgore is pretty far away from where I'm from in Texas, but everything's far apart in Texas. But yeah, I'll catch up with you, man. Have a good night. Thanks for stopping in. Thanks for chatting. All right, Carol. You got anything else? Because if you don't, let me see. Yeah, I'm at an hour and some change. We made it. We made it past 45 minutes. You kept me busy. So, like I said, if there's anything you want to know right now, let me know. And I'll give you a response. Any kind of grammar stuff or general questions like you've been asking, I'll answer it to the best of my ability. Sometimes I don't know stuff, but if I know it, I probably know it very well. So, probably. All right. Appreciate you. You have a good night too. I'm gonna get off here and go to bed. Probably go to bed. I need to go to bed. Well, I don't know. But I hope your foot feels better. Thanks for stopping in. I'm about to click end on this. Peace.